I'm not sure why I chose to live in Melbourne if my bio says I'm a sunshine seeker. I think I got the wrong city. Hi, before we start, I would like to also acknowledge the traditional owners on the land of which we're meeting today and pay my respects to elders both past, present and future generations to come. My name is Kaylene and I am the founder of StartUp Creative. Some of you might have picked up the magazine on the way in. There's some at the back. If I forget to tell you, grab them, they're free. But StartUp Creative is an online platform, a magazine, podcast. I also do business coaching events, workshops on helping people turn their passion into viable businesses. And StartUp Creative came about 5 years ago almost now, when I went through my own journey of designing the life of my dreams. I was in the corporate rat race, I was pretty close to burnout, miserable, not really having a great time with life, and decided that there had to be a better way to do life. And I went on this journey of business development and understanding entrepreneurship and startups and how to build a business from scratch. And then but alongside that, I've been on this personal development journey, from week-long retreats of walking on fire and learning about money by having to pay $400 to play a board game and losing it, which wasn't very nice. But then I've also been in week-long tantric retreats in Bali, and more recently did a 7-day meditation retreat where it was 10 hours a day of meditation. So I've been on a journey of trying to understand what it means to, what this human experience means. So today I want to share with you a little bit about this, because I think what I've come to learn is that as much as I can sit down and teach you how to start a business and how to grow an Instagram following and how to get likes and pitch and get your dream jobs and all of that, unless you fully embody the worthiness of your wildest dreams, then you will not receive them and you will not experience them in this lifetime, because you are out of alignment with them. And it doesn't matter how hard you work and hustle and how much you spend, or the long hours that you do, unless you're in an energetic alignment of what it is that you want for your life, then you're likely to be on a road to burnout, and unless you can feel it in your body. Yeah? So let's talk about that a little bit. The whole idea of preserve, I'm going to weave in throughout our talk, but in my experience, and let's just go on a little bit of a journey here of where we came from, we arrive here as humans on this planet, right? However you want to believe we got here, I'm going to say I came from Stardust, yeah? Like space, beautiful place. We arrived here, we're human, we're on this planet. We come and the first thing we do is we're in this place of awe and wonder. So we're childlike, right? We're looking around and we're in wonder and awe of what this place is, and we're learning about it, right? Albert Einstein says the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. So we're questioning everything. And then we start to learn, we start to observe, and we start to absorb our environment. So from ages 1 to 12, we're pretty much operating in our subconscious mind. So we don't really have a conscious mind. Our conscious mind is 5% of our mind. Our subconscious, so the programs of the unconscious programs, is 95% of our brain, right? So in the first few years, we're starting to fill this subconscious brain with what we're learning and observing and experiencing, the tone of voices, and then what we're piecing that tone of voice to an interaction and a reaction, and we're storing it in our brain, and it's becoming our personality, it's becoming what we know, it's becoming our understanding. So these first 12 years, we're absorbing it all. And what you need to know about your subconscious mind is, firstly, it is completely subjective, okay? It only obeys commands from the conscious mind, and it is an unquestioning servant. So it's just a memory bank, really. It's like if you were to talk to your computer, I mean, Siri's kind of got a conscious mind now, but it's like if you were to talk to your computer and try and get it to understand. It doesn't understand, it's just operating off it's being an obedient servant based on the program that it's been given. Yeah, does that make sense? Yep, cool. So we all have the subconscious mind. So this is where it gets interesting, is we've spent this time observing our environments, witnessing our relationships, experiencing life and the environment. And this is where we start to really create our memory bank of what is then going to become what we now call our personality and who we are today. So let me give you an example here. I'll talk you through it. We have a life experience. When that life experience happens, it triggers an emotion in our body. Okay, so we're going to go, let's go, it's easier if we give you an example that's a little bit traumatic here. So I'm going to give you a vulnerable example of mine. Let's say I have a life experience. So I have a girlfriend and I'm going to ask her out for dinner. I'm like, do you want to go on date night? And she says yes. And I'm like, yes, I'm excited. I have the emotional trigger in my body. But then she calls an hour before we're meant to go out and says, I can't make it anymore. And my body then has another emotional response. So maybe my tummy feels sick. Maybe I get a gulp in my throat. Maybe my heart gets a little pang in it. It's like I have that feeling. So my body responds to that emotional experience. When that emotion, that feeling happens in your body, then our minds perk up and go, oh, something's happening in the body. What's going on down there? And we start to create a story. And we try to understand it. That, oh, my tummy's being funny. Oh, I feel a bit sore in my heart. And then because of our minds are looking for certainty, it then starts to create the story. And it starts to pull on the information that it's had from its first few years and the experiences that it's had in the past. And then it tells the mind, and then we start to program the mind with a belief. So when I go, this is an emotional response that's happening in my body. And that emotional response in my mind is then trying to understand. And when I understand that, and I call my friends, and I'm like, guess what just happened? And I go to my therapist, and I'm like, you'll never believe it. I think I should break up with it. And we create this story that's dramatic, which triggers more of the emotion. And what we focus on expands. So the more we go, oh, that really hurt my heart, and I feel rejected, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not lovable, all of that gets stored in our subconscious mind. It's going straight into the program because we've had this intense emotional experience. The mind has tried to understand it, and it's gone, okay, that's what it is. And remember what I said about the subconscious mind. It said it's a servant. So if my mind has said, my conscious mind has said, she cancelled dinner, she doesn't love me, it's over. Then my conscious mind is telling my body that, and my body is telling my subconscious mind. And my subconscious mind has now programmed a belief that I'm unlovable, that she doesn't love me. And like attracts like. The law of attraction says like attracts like. So as we start to then go, okay, that's a belief system. That belief system is what you start to act from. It's in your program now. You've programmed it into your computer. You're not lovable, and you get rejected, and people say no to you, and it hurts, yeah? And I've created this big story, which may have been, like, the conscious mind could have said, you know what, she's really busy right now, and you're actually going to do dinner tomorrow night, and you are so amazing, of course she loves you. My mind could have said that and programmed that, and I would have been like, oh, I'm so lovable, like, she is lucky. But it programmed, I'm unlovable, right? So that's the program that I've now anchored in. Do people relate to that? Can people see in their place and be like, oh, fuck, I've really fucked up my programming? Yeah. So that in that moment, it's like now all of a sudden, because that's in my program, that's how I'm going through life. I'm like, oh, I'm unlovable, yeah. People don't want to go out for dinner with me, you know? And so in that moment, and then as we're living, we start to go through life living like this, we attract more of that. So the subconscious then is going to go seek evidence and life experiences that are going to reiterate what it knows to be true. This is our truth. We're unlovable. Let's go and find more people who don't love us. Another example you could use is, which I think is really good for work, and I see a lot of people in the work environment, is like being told no. When was the first time we got told no? And then the feeling in our body was like, oh, shh. And then we created the story of why that person said no to us. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. So then the story of I'm not good enough, and then all of a sudden you're in your workplace, or an opportunity arises and you can say something like, and you don't put yourself out for opportunities in the workplace because you believe you're not good enough, or you don't take risks, or you don't dream into what else is possible for your life. Yeah, so it becomes this unconscious thing that we're all living by, and we're like, oh shit, like how did I get here? This is just who I am. Yeah. And then what happens is the next time we hear no, or the next time the girlfriend goes to change the plans, the subconscious mind goes, oh, we know what to do. We know what to do. Make her tummy sore. Give her that gulp in her throat again. Yeah, that's what we do when this happens. When we hear the word no, we shrink back and we go, yep, I'm not good enough. People relate to moments in their life where they're like, yeah, cool. So this is a pattern that plays out, and as a result, it becomes our unconscious programming. So it's the programming that we live by. So by the age of 21, our brain has permanently stored more than 100 times the contents of the entire encyclopedia. So I Googled how many pages and times it by 100, and it's 3.2 million pages of information is stored in your brain, most of which is probably bullshit or song lyrics from the 90s. So this is the old school library programming system. Every time something happens to our life, our brain is going, okay, yep, what did we do here? Like, what do we do? Yep, and it goes to your memory. It goes to all the information that you've stored. And by the time you're 35, you actually, unless you're conscious of it, you stop storing new information. You just go, we've already got 3.2 million pages here. There's no more room for new information. Let's just use with what we've got, right? And some of that could be stored from like age 2, where you were not given a coffee. And it was a horrible childhood. Chocolate, I was going to say. So this is what we've got. We've all got these big library catalogues where we're just like, yeah. Imagine all these little people walking around like, yeah, here you go, Kaylene, react like this. So, which I believe results in living from a memory bank of preserved memories. So scientists, neuroscientists have proven that we live 95% of our life out of a stored memory and past experience, some of which don't serve us. So there is limiting beliefs in there of I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, that doesn't serve you and that you're likely to be acting out of in your life and is holding you back and keeping you small and allowing you to play the same program over and over in your life. And I call these limiting beliefs. So I'm not good enough, I can't afford it, I'm unlovable, I don't have time, I'm not smart enough. Or I think this is a really subtle one that people say, it's like, it's okay. It's like, no, that's not okay. Yeah, like, it's okay. I'll be fine. People relate to some of those? Feel like that little voice in your head that sometimes goes, you're not good enough, don't do it. Don't ask for the pay rise. Yeah, don't pitch yourself for that job. Don't ask someone out for dinner. And I believe that the only thing holding you back from where you are now and your wildest dreams is the limiting beliefs that you are holding on to so firmly and acting out of in an unconscious program every single day. But the good thing is that it's not that hard to unprogram. I'm going to teach you some of these skills today. Can you teach your body emotionally what it would feel like to be empowered, to be moved by your own greatness, to be invincible, to have courage, to be in love with life, to feel unlimited, and to live as if your prayers have already been answered? The good thing about the human mind is that we have imagination, which sets us apart from every other mammal. So right now, if we all close our eyes for a hot second, I'm not going to throw anything at you. And just think of a happy memory. When was the last time you really smiled? Maybe it was on a roller coaster, or maybe you had a really nice glass of wine, or a good meal, or great sex. Feel it and see if you can activate the emotion in your body. See if you can remember the feeling of what it felt like. When did you have a really good belly laugh? Did you curl under the blankets and was like, oh my God, I'm so warm? Feel it in your body and activate it. See if you can get chemicals in your body that are bringing back that memory. Who is it? Maybe there's someone in, like for me, it's my nieces and nephews, just thinking about them. I'm like, oh. Okay, you can open your eyes. So whether you got there or not, it's a good thing to start to practice, which is that when you close your eyes, your brain can actually activate and change the chemistry of your body without your outside environment changing. So nothing has changed on the outside of your environment right now, but you likely just changed the chemistry of your body based on what your brain did, yeah? And the cool thing about this is just like when we program our subconscious with shit that probably wasn't true, of like, my girlfriend doesn't love me because she didn't come to dinner, is that we can also program an existence of what we want for our future. So we can program something that hasn't yet happened and start to wire our brain with the positive of what we do want for ourselves, what we do want to feel, what we do want to experience. So when you close your eyes and you imagine something and you visualize something and you activate a chemical reaction in your body, you're actually firing and wiring neural pathways in your brain that are convincing it that it happened. Yeah? Just like my brain was capable of convincing me I'm unlovable, it's capable of convincing me that I'm powerful and abundant. Yeah? It's the same thing that we're doing, but we do it with the negative over and over, and very rarely do we do it with the positive. And go, well, actually, what do I want if I was to step out of my programming? So 3 steps to getting what you want, because I honestly think that if you can start to practice overcoming limiting beliefs every single day in your life and start to be aware of this programming, then you will see your wildest dreams unfold in front of you, because you'll be vibrating at a level that is worthy to receive them. And you don't have to go out and hustle for them. You just can hold the space of like attracts like. Yeah? And then you start to go, instead of moving this matter and hustling and grinding and trying to convince yourself that you're good enough, you're actually going, I'm fucking good enough. Like, of course I'm going to ask for that opportunity. Of course I'm going to take that babe out on a date. Yeah? And it's like you hold that energy. We all know that person who walks into the room and you're just like, oh, yes, that person knows what's up. Like, they know who they are. Yeah, we don't go. It's the same as when someone walked into the room and they're really insecure and they weren't confident, they didn't know who they were. Their body and their energy would be telling us that. It's the same as if you're walking through the world as if your wildest dreams are coming to you. Yeah, I got this. All right, let's do it. Anyone, is it making sense? Cool. Every time you attempted to react in the same old way, ask yourself, do you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future? Simple as that. You've got this programming, you've got this library catalogue. Some of it's probably bullshit, most of it's probably bullshit. Instead of just being like, yep, when someone says no, this is what you do. You get really insecure and you retreat and you stop taking proactive action in building the life of your dreams or your career or whatever it is. Instead of taking that little program, being like, I'm not taking that catalogue card today, I'm creating a new one. And you can start to do something different and break that cycle and break that neural pathway. So the first thing you do is you release what no longer serves you. So what unconscious programs are you running that you're like, that's fucked. That shit is not good for me. That keeps me small. That makes me feel shit about myself. That holds me back. Does people feel like they can relate to some of that? Yeah? We got some limiting beliefs in there? All right. My personal experience is the first thing you need to do is be able to identify them. So something you might like to do today is Go home and see if you can just brain dump them out. There's probably some that you're really conscious of. Often things that our parents have told us over and over, oh, you're not smart enough to be an entrepreneur. No, go get a real job. Yeah, I'm not smart enough. Okay, better not do that. Yeah, you can't afford that. No, you're not rich enough for that. You don't earn enough money to go overseas. The dollar is really bad right now. I get that so much at the moment. I'm like, shut up about the dollar. So identify it. Where is it? And if you can't naturally pick it up, then I dare you to dream of what you want. Just pick a dream. Just in your mind go, oh, I wish I could live overseas for 3 months of the year and get rid of this horrible Melbourne winter out of my life. And then go, okay, that's a dream that you want. And then what's the voice that comes after that? You can't afford it. Where would you live? You have to pay your rent. What about the dog? Yeah? all of the limiting beliefs that are going to come up and go, you're not good enough for that. That's what rich people do. Yeah? So identify it first. Stop giving it attention. What you focus on expands. The more energy you give to a negative experience, the more your subconscious mind is going, whoa, this is a big one, guys. Like, there's something big going on here. We need to really store this, right? We need to really put it in there and anchor it for a long time because we need to be ready for when it happens again. So when something happens that makes you want to contract or retreat from life or feel shit about yourself, try to lean into the opposite of that rather than going, oh, yeah, no, I'm definitely shit. Yeah, no, that's right. I'm going to go curl up in bed and just remember how shit I am. Yeah? See if you can not give it attention, because the less energy you give it, the quicker, an emotion can move through your body in less than 2 minutes. How many times do we feel an emotion, that rush of being like, oh, no, you didn't. And your whole body is just like, whoa. That can pass in less than 2 minutes if we don't focus on it and we don't anchor it in and we don't put a story to it. We just lean back and observe it and go, okay, you're here. You can leave now. Come on. Just keep breathing and it can move through you. But what we do is we actually go, oh, okay, I'm feeling this. All right, who did this? What'd you do? Okay, I'm going to store that. Don't you? No one's ever doing that to me again. I will never feel rejected ever again. Yeah? So stop believing it. Stop giving it attention and the emotional charge. And I personally, every now and again, like on a full moon or something like that, write it out, all the shit that I don't want to believe and program anymore, and I actually physically burn it. And I've run workshops before with people, and I'm like, give me your beliefs. We're burning them. I go home and have a bonfire with them. So write it out. Do a little ritual and be like, I'm not doing this. It's an outward expression of an inward change. Step number 2 is decide what you actually want. When was the last time you sat down and said, what do I actually want with this life? If I was to step out of an unconscious program that's been running me without me being aware of it, what would I reprogram? What would I be the creator of my life? What would I design? What emotions and experiences do I want to preserve? Not the shit that I've held on to and been pickling for years and has led me to hold myself back from everything that I've ever wanted. Yeah? So dream big and often. I write goals all the time. I'm constantly writing shit out of like, what if? Going back to that childlike wonder and awe before all of the shit stuff started happening and go, what is possible here? And when we actually, as much as there's billions of pieces of information in our brain, if we actually went, you know what, 95% of this needs to go. There's some good shit in there of that time I went to the meditation retreat or my mum told me she loved me or whatever. I'm going to keep that stuff. But there's infinite possibilities if you don't just run from your program. And you go, what else is there? How do I want to get through this world? How do I want to act? What energy do I want to put out? So write it out. It's really good to get it out of your brain and to write it out on a piece of paper. And then attach emotion to that. What would it be like? Tell someone your dream. Get a coach, get a mentor, get someone who you see regularly and be like, this is my dream. Can you help me make it happen? I want this. It's scary. But I'm going to give this energy and I'm going to give this emotion. And then I personally visualize it through meditation almost every day, where I'll sit down and walk myself through a day in the life of me in my dream life. So walking through my house, or up on stage, or, running my next magazine, meeting cool people, whatever it is. It's like you're walking yourself, you're visualizing that, and you're anchoring in that emotion, which is programming a new belief in your system. So the emotion is programming the belief into your subconscious mind. And I meditate every day on that and try to go into, when you meditate, you're shutting off your analytical mind and you're going into your subconscious mind and you can reprogram. Yeah. And then this is where you get to rewire your brain. So a really amazing resource if you really want to go deep into the neuroscience of this is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's an incredible neuroscientist who's done a lot of this work. But the first thing to think of is change your language. The next time you go to say, I can't afford it, say, how can I afford it? And just ask the question, what's possible here? What is the new programming that's available to me? So change your language. Self-deprecating stuff is not good for you. Whether you like it or not, it's funny or it's not. Like, I never let anyone speak badly about themselves around me, because I know that it's going into their subconscious mind and it's causing a belief that they're going to act from, whether they're aware of it or not. Everything you do and say is going into your brain and programming, and it's going to create your reality of how you go about this world. So if you don't want to live from a place of small-mindedness and not good enough and unlovable, then don't tell yourself that shit. Yeah? Surround yourself with people who have it. Because whether it's, it doesn't mean, I'm not saying you have to redesign your whole life here. It could just be that, I want an amazing lover. I want a really amazing, healthy relationship that brings me alive and makes me the best version of myself, or helps me be the best version of myself. Who's got that in your life? Go and be around that person. Go and hang out with that couple, Invite them for dinner. Be their third wheel. Ask them if they know anybody. Surround yourself with people who are holding the vibration of what you want. It shows you that it's possible. Because if you don't have it in your life, there's probably because there's no neuro pathway in your brain where your brain has said, you can have this. Your brain has said, oh, no, you're only allowed people who treat you like shit. That's what you deserve. That's the programming that's in there somewhere. But if you were to say, what if I was to attract something epic here? By being around that and experiencing it and witnessing it, and I love like autobiographies and documentaries from like a work perspective of like showing you what's possible and helping you to believe it, yeah? Triggering the emotion of like, oh, I could have that. What if I could do that? And preserve that feeling. So when you have those little glimpses of feeling joy or abundant or happy or powerful, whatever it is that you want to experience more of in your life, when you have those little glimpses of those moments, try and expand them. Like, I imagine it's like, oh, I just felt really happy then, like that was really good. And then I'm like, oh yes, like try and fill my whole body with that emotion. I'm just like, yeah, no one else do that. It's like feeling, it's because our brains are Velcro. When a negative thing happens, it's Velcro. It clings to it and it says, I'm holding on to that. That's our fight or flight response. It's innate in us from millions of years ago. So long ago we were taught to fight or flight. So a negative thing happens and that's what we're programmed. A positive thing happens and it's like Teflon. It's just like, oh yeah, cool, that happened. It's like if someone walks into the room and says, your hair looks a bit average today, you're just like, oh, it's all you think about all day. But if someone comes in and says, you have a nice smile. No, I don't. So I hate my teeth. I need to get them whitened. Yeah? It's like we just naturally push it off, right? So preserve the feeling. Be conscious of it and go, that feels really good. And celebrate it. And this beautiful Joseph Campbell quote at the end. A bit of advice given from a young Native American at the time of his initiation. As you go the way of life, you will see a great chasm. You know, like a cliff. Jump. It's not as wide as you think. So my challenge to you is to see if you can become aware of your programming, what you have been preserving. Maybe smash some old preserve jars that no longer serve and start to rewire or start to preserve things that are going to serve you and the life of your dreams. Thank you very much.